don't know who he's communicating with, but that's Chase downstairs. This is Lou. I believe it's December 4th. I go to bed so late and the date changes, and then I wake up and I've slept, so I've slept since then. Anyway, let me address something to the person who gave me such a nice compliment and then asked me to tell you how to do it. I don't know that I can do that. I mean, if you go over my videos, you'll see I was learning and doing as I went along. But it is true. Especially, especially if you're a one-man show or a one-woman show. This quilt as you go is a way to do it. And now I've done the quilt as you go one way, and it did turn out really good, and that's the way that person wanted to know. I don't know if it's a male or female or what, but it doesn't matter. I'm just saying I like to know who I'm talking to. And when you just get an address, a web address, or whatever it is, you don't have a picture sometimes. Watch out. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. Hopefully it'll just be two. Anyway, I'm going to do something different, and I'm just not quite sure about it yet. So the thing that I am sure of, I'm doing. And I will continue. I've watched the video a few times, but I mean, at least a couple anyway. But it's still, I have to do it. In order for it to stick in me, I have to do it. And that quilt, I don't know which one you were talking about. The first one I did was completely an experiment. But I had watched a lot of tutorials, okay? And one thing that stuck out in my mind, I was preparing to make a batch, as many as I could at one time, of these mug rugs, which is a small placemat. And they're just beautiful. So I made a whole bunch of those. But the thing is, when you're doing your measuring, this is the key to what I did, is your backing, you want to cut it in a square that's 2 inches bigger than the one you're using. Like the one I used was 6 inches, so the back was 8 inches. And then you center that 6 inches in the middle of that backing. Your batting and your top piece are going to be 6 inches, or mine was. And then I laid it, I laid the batting center on the backing. So there was 1 inch all the way around. Okay, so that becomes the way you attach it to other blocks. And that also becomes the binding on the front. So each square has a frame around it. So it depends on how you feel about that framing, okay? My daughter is wanting a quilt that doesn't have the framing. She just wants me to do the blocks. And so I'm having to figure that out. I mean, I've done it before, but my purpose, of course, it would be nice to have a sit-down time with the family and quilt, but I just don't see that happening, okay? Everybody's lives are way too busy. And yes, you should make time for your family, and it would be a fun thing to do, but it would take up a lot of room to have an actual quilting frame. I mean, the way they did it in the old days, I guess these are the new days. I'll lose my voice because I talk too much. Anyway, I've made 2 quilts. I finished the second one yesterday. And what I mean is I had it already finished, but I hadn't done the binding all the way around. And it worked out really good. I finished the second one yesterday. So both my 2 quilts that I've been showing on here have been bound. And they look pretty good. I'm gonna I think I'm going to put them through the wash. I might take them to the laundromat in a big machine, put it through the wash and put it through the dryer. Make sure it's really dry and ready to go. I'm not sure. One of my grandkids might get that one, and boy, he'll be lucky if he does, because I was making it for me. No, actually, I was just making it, and it was experimenting, and I wanted to do those squares after I'd done the mug rug stuff, and it turned out so good. Linking the blocks together and then binding on the front, and there you are. You're done. As you go. And so now I'm going to do it a little different because my daughter just wants the blocks, but I still want to do it as you go. I don't want to have to come back, or maybe it gets put in a box and never gets taken care of because it's not finished. So I started putting these blocks together for my daughter, for her quilt. Now, we picked out materials that she likes, and she just wants them all random. And she told me what she wants for the backing. So yesterday I cut up, I'm not sure if it was just yesterday, but I cut up all the squares for her that I have. I got a feeling I'm going to have to buy some more. But then I spent last night cutting up, and I'm still cutting them, I'm trimming them. But I'm talking about the batting. So we'll call it a sandwich. You got your top, your pretty piece for the top, and then you've got your batting, and then you've got your backing. But they're not sewing all these pieces together. In other words, in the tutorial that I watched a few times, and I tried to watch it today, and it wouldn't let me have the sound. I don't understand that, because I had sound on other videos. It doesn't make sense. I tried to see if I had, pushed the mute button or something. But anyway, she's got a neat way of doing it. And once I do it a couple of times, then it's going to be easy to remember. Because she starts out, I know I switched because I'm interested in what I'm doing. Because I'm already done with that. But no, it is. I'll switch back to what, because this is a person who asked a question, okay? And I don't know if I can actually, boom, 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 show you how to do that quilt. But I'm kind of basically telling you. The one that you saw, and I think you were looking at the one that had the squares. Every square has its own backing. And when it's sewn to each row, it gets bound. And it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful too. And see, I had asked about colors and stuff, so there's colors in there for both Tyler and Kevin. So we'll see what happens, because we were also going to put them up for an auction type thing, which I could really use the money. And the advertisement, I want people to see my stuff. But in the meantime, I have started on something different. So basically, I told you what you need to know. If you quilt, okay, you figure out what size square you want. Say you want an 8-inch square, okay, then make the backing a 10-inch square. Just so you have that inch all the way around when you put it together. And then you put your stuff right on top of that backing. So you're sewing the quilting through all of it, but not on the edges, okay? You still have that inch edge all the way around, and that's how you're going. I know I said it already, but that's how you're going to join that square to a square below it, or a square above it, or a square beside it. I know you can't see my hands when it gets past the thing. But okay, so now I'm trying to figure out, and I've got the basics of it. I've got the gist of it. I switched, okay, because this is what I'm doing now. It's basically the same, except this lady does not, the first row does, it gets the backing on it, and it gets the backing for the second row, all sewn on it at the same time. well, she didn't do the second row, second piece, because she's going to take one piece and then she's going to add a piece on the side. Okay, and then the next step, after she gets that whole row done like that, she's joining the squares, okay, and just with a 1/4 inch seam. I don't know her name to tell you to go to her, and she should be in my history. She should be in my history right now because I was just trying to watch her. I just couldn't get the sound to work. This particular, because she does a lot of stuff, but this particular version that I'm going to do for Jessie is not going to have any framing. It's just going to be smooth. But you'll have enough. It'll already be done, everything. Okay, so then, like on this one I'm doing now, she did 10-inch back and 8-inch front, I'm pretty sure. Or she could have just done 10-inch total. There's different ways of joining your blocks. But the way I'm talking about is going to be, and that's what I've started doing. I've started, like I said, I cut sizes yesterday. So what she's doing is she's having the batting. She did 6.5-inch squares for the, she did, and I am. Because she was doing 10-inch and I bet you 8-inch. She wasn't changing the size, really, what she was doing. Okay. The one that I'm going to do now, she didn't change the size itself for one thing. In other words, the back and the front are going to be the same size. But the batting, the batting, she made a 1/2 inch smaller so that it turns out like this. And see, now I've started putting them together just now. Okay, so it's just gonna, this is a little bit more than 1/4 inch. I trimmed some more off because they were too big. I just decided, okay, that's how I'm doing it. But anyway, so I was looking for rulers, okay, so, to make my job easier. And I kept seeing weird sizes, like 4.9. Why is it at 4.9? Probably to help with these seams. So I've got just a few put together. Let's see, I'll show you the back. And I haven't got them put together, they're just laying together, and the batting holds on to the material. But anyway, so this is going to be one of her blocks. So I'm going to take them to the machine and do the stitching for each block, which means the quilting. Then here's another one of her blocks. I figured I would put a few of these together and go in and sew them as far as the quilting part goes. And we'll just play with it. That's what we'll do. We'll just play with it. Okay, my stuff's over there. All right, so I'll do another one. And actually, I had it down here already. And I'm feeling very hungry, and I know why. I got to quit doing that. I just need to forget about coffee. You know, coffee's there. It smells good. It looks good. It tastes not so good. And then the creamer I put in it, there's sugar, like I put stevia in it today. And they had run out of creamer, so it's got, I came upstairs to my room. All right, I'm gonna get dizzy here. Yeah, I cut all these squares and they're just not the way I like it, so I'm trimming them down some. And it is a new time for me to do this, but what it is they're, I'm sure of it, they're leaving the 1/4 inch on all sides of the batting, so you don't sew through the batting. in the attachment process. Okay, well, I'm going to put my glasses on to make it a little bit easier. And I'm going to have to find some salty food here in a minute. See, that's the thing. Even though, it depends on your creamer, but even though it's just not, I'm going to just figure out something here. I might just have to do something different. I cut all these squares, you know, but I did it with scissors, and I did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's really a good length right there. All right, so this side is, I need a small straight edge so I can cut that. I can't. I've got everything stacked on my ruler over there. So I'm just going to go back to what I'm doing. Anyway, I cut my squares last night with a pair of scissors instead of with that trimmer. And I do know that you don't get the most accurate cuts. So I'm just going to trim some off on the side here. And hopefully that's good enough. Myself, I'm not into the... Did I drop it? These plaids and stuff, I was shocked that she picked them out because she had mentioned that she wanted solids. I made 6.5-inch squares. And I'm just trying to have a good seam. The batting is going to be sewn to these front pieces. And then there is a step where you come in and you add the backing. And when you do that, it all works. No, that's just not working for me. Do do do, hey hey, you're so really so close. It's disgusting. Okay. There we go. That's good enough. All right. Going overkill here, but I was making the batting stick to material. See, so you can see the seam all the way around. So when we go to sew the blocks together, that's where their seam is. And so they're saying to not engage the batting. I mean, if you do, it's not a big travesty, okay? But in sewing the seams together and everything, makes perfect sense to me. So here's a block. So she's got a few random, they're not all black and stuff. Like here's another one. This yellow, I don't know, gold. We'll call it gold. That'll be one of her blocks. And she also likes this. And I love this teal green, which they had that in several colors. And then this one, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of got some polka dots going through it, and brown and black. Okay, come on, get down. And this one, and that's a cranberry color. Okay, so that's all the blocks I've got besides the gray. And the gray is what she wants for her back. Which is this. But I'm also thinking that I might want to make some gray fronts to go with the other ones. I don't know. I'm going to discuss it whether she likes it or not. I want her to be involved, man. Because as I told her, I says, this is a lot of work. And I don't know if I told her that, but I know I said it on here. It's a lot of work, and you want to make sure that it's going to be pleasing. You know, it doesn't have to be. It's just a blanket. But I want it to be beautiful. And I appreciate the compliment, man. Thank you. So, simply marvelous. Now, this one already fits. That's because I already trimmed it, didn't I? I tend to forget what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm doing a batch thing because I need a lot of squares for this quilt. And so I just started hers. Got the other two done and put aside, and not just two, but three, because what I started was, and it's not done. Because I got to figure out if I'm going to add more, which I think I am. But necessarily, it doesn't need it. Depends on what it would be used for. That's got a wrinkle in it. I think I'll take that off. Just because I think it's probably better if you, I can't tell if that's got a front. See, some of these pieces don't have necessarily a front and back. They're the same. So the only thing different, well, there's two things different, is that I cut the batting smaller than the front and the back. And then the front and the back are the same size, so we're not going to have the self-binding thing. Self-binding sounds like they did it, but it's not like that. It just means that that material's there for you to bind right now, and you don't have to wait. I got a song playing in my head. I want it, I want it. And someone else saying, you can't have it. It's there. Do, do, do. Like I said, my edges are not perfect. They're kind of rounded sometimes. And then this one down here has kind of got a point on it. So I'm just going to try to remove that. Okay. And I've used that word on here recently. Persnickety. That's me. I am being persnickety, but that's also meaning I'm going to be a perfectionist. You do that now so you don't have trouble later down the road. I'm going to take that off because it was wrinkled. Yeah, there's different ways. You can do your own thing when you're quilting, okay? And it's kind of like I was talking with somebody else about sewing. When you're in school and you're trying to learn sewing, they teach you all the stuff that's kind of similar to being hard. But they're teaching you the basics and they're teaching you the reasons. You just don't understand that at the time. But later, after you've learned all those basics, then you can tweak it. You don't have to follow the rules. There are other ways. And just like with these quilts, quilting as you go, I know this has got to be fairly a new thing. Maybe I'll just put those over there. Instead of doing all the squares, I'm going to try to do some of the squares. Is that a pen? Anyway, some of each of the colors of the squares so I can kind of play with them. All right, so we're going to go with the gold. I like it. I mean, you can't really see it all that well. And it's a print and it disperses. It's not solid. And that is not to say that I don't like prints. I do. I just like this one, too. And they had several colors in the same type of deal. Just like other things. When you find something that you like. Do, 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 do. Okay, I gotta trim off some on one end. Da, da, da. Thing about quilt batting, okay, because I used my scissors last night. These scissors are cool. They're spring assisted. Somewhere down in here there's a spring. There's my hair. How'd that happen? All right, so I trimmed off just a sliver, like not even, it was thicker in one place, but not even 1/8 of an inch probably. Anyway, one of the things I was just trying to say though is, you learn the rules and then you can tweak them and have your own rules. Same thing with handwriting. When you're learning to do cursive and they got their rules, how they want it. But then when you're not in class anymore and you're signing your check or you're signing this or that, you're free to sign how you want. And if you are, like when I got carried away writing, okay, oh my, you change your style a little bit because my hand was moving as fast as it could go. Well, you know what? You're not going to be persnickety on all the little curves of your letters and stuff when you do that, because you're more concentrating on what's coming out of your head. Communicating is the deal. And I am a communicator. And I'm so glad that I learned. I went to Trend Business Colleges. I went through a course through CETA, which was a government-assisted deal. So I was in a group of people, but our group was with the whole school. We were doing the same things. And so what's the point of telling you about them? Oh, I'm just really glad that I learned all that because they taught me sentence structure. I mean, I already learned all these things in school, okay? But we're talking about being able to communicate, and this is business college. So the course is secretarial science, and you are learning to be everything that an executive assistant could be. That you need to know proper English, proper grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, how to say what you're really trying to say. You have to have spelling and vocabulary. Vocabulary is very important because you need to know what those words mean, okay? And the rules for that, like prefixes and suffixes. Simple rules right there teach you more about some meanings, because you can take a root word and you add a prefix and it's changed. You can change the dynamic, and I don't have an example. But the point is, words are great. And it is a skill that you should obtain. I mean, depending. I didn't know I wanted to communicate and be a writer and all that stuff. So let me tell you what, you get all those rules going on in your head, you got it down pat, and then you start writing. Sentences just go together. Do. It's just pretty wonderful, really. Okay, so here's that one. And I've just pressed batting all around, leaving. It's the same thing all the way around, leaving that little piece, except for it's not an inch long. And this will be used, whereas it's sewn right down that, right next to the deal, right next to the batting, that there'll be another piece behind it that you're sewing it to. So it takes a lot of the layers out. That's probably why they do that. But you still want to sew it to the piece. Now you can decide to sew it to the back and just have the, I don't know. I haven't seen that and I haven't done that. But anyway, I'm just going to do 3 or 4 of the same colors and put something I can go put together in the other room. See, I can go sit down at the sewing machine and just do the stitching part across these squares. That's really pretty good. I could trim it a little bit. So anyway, I hope I answered your question enough, because really that, besides it being a lot of work on your wrist, because you're using this a lot, and you're doing this a lot because you're folding material under, because that's a lot of binding. You're not just binding the outside, you're binding every single square. I was going to say row, but you're doing, first you make a row, and then you have to bind all that before you add it to something else. And then it's wonderful about materials there so that you can do that. There's another one, just like the other one. I have some over here. I thought I did. Okay. So I'm just picking up these pieces of material that I cut yesterday and making these squares. I'll make a bunch of them, and then I'll go in there and work on a bunch of them at the same time. You see, that's the thing. Like Jessie was, you're doing all this work and you're not getting anything done. But see, she's worried about the fact that we decided I will do quilts for the children. We put a deadline on me, and we can't do that. But I had to learn first, you know. It was an experiment, but it wasn't, because I'd already asked about colors, but I just don't think my grandkid would like the quilt I made. The first one, the mug rug thing. However, it is beautiful. It's not something I would necessarily choose because it's got stripes, and I don't like stripes. But it's got stripes of my color that I do like, so I don't know. Do 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 do, hey hey, you're so far away. Hey. Now I got to figure out my other people's. But I'm going to work on what I got while I'm at it, you know. But Carly needs to give me a little bit more input, but I think I found a way to get that. In other words, she likes to crochet. So she's chosen colors that she likes for her crocheting. And Jessie was showing me a picture of that the other day. So the point is, I could just kind of take from those colors. You know, surprises are neat, but in this type of deal, there's just too much work involved to make something that they don't like. I don't want that to happen. Do, 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 do. I know, quit singing that song. Let's twist again, like we did last summer. Yeah. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. I'm just going to take a little bit more off and a sliver, okay? But it makes it where your seam is better. Okay, I've never done this before. This will be a new experience too. Meaning having the batting there, sewing it on, and then joining without. I'm new at all this anyway. Let's twist again, like we did last year. Remember when? Do, 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 do. Let's twist again. Twisting time is here. Whoops. All right. I hope she likes what she picked out. I'm sure she does. Do, 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 do. Oh. I woke up and I did not go back to sleep. I just went ahead and got up. I scrolled some first, but not much. Because, you know, you always got to go potty when you wake up. Us older folks especially. There's a certain time that the house is real busy, so I just stay in here until they're gone. So they're getting ready for their day. Okay, let's see what I can do with this. Let's twist again like we did last year. Okay. I hate to do it, but I put the kitty out at night, out of my room, because I want to shut the door, and I don't want to lock a cat in here with no way to go potty. So no, we're not doing that. Okay, I'll take 4 or 5, whatever that worked out to be. Da 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 dum, do 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 do. So what I'm gonna have to do is have a box with everybody's name on it, and in that box is their material or part of it, because I don't think I have enough. Do 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 do. I really like this one. I'm not necessarily a green fan, but I like that. I wonder if Carly would like that. So all she told me was green. I asked for her favorite color, green. Okay. And then I think she did right after that, forest. In other words, probably whatever you see in the forest. There's all kinds of shades of green. But I love it. Making me a big old stack. And then what I'll do is go in there and sit at the sewing machine, and there's more than one way to do that. But I do like the tic-tac-toe. I like the tic-tac-toe effect. Which means when you're sewing these blocks together, right now I got a flimsy piece of material. It's not that flimsy. But the point is I'm going to put padding on it. And then I'm going to sew this and the padding together. The one that I did previously that has the self-binding had the backing and everything on it. But this is going to be different. This is going to be put in a row together, and then the rest of it will be real easy. It'll hang off of it. I'm excited to learn new things because it does open doors. Everything you learn opens up a door. So anyway, I was going to say, so you got your padding on the other side, which I don't. And the tic-tac-toe, what I'm doing is I start here, and I go all the way down. And then I sew, I take the, pull the pressure foot up, turn the material, and then I sew down here. And I get to a point where I think it's the right, because I haven't measured, and then I sew back up. So you've got 2 lines of sewing. Okay, but then I take and I pull my needle up and disengage that thread, and I pull the needle over to here and put it in. So, because that thread has released and it lets me move it. So I pull over here and I start and I put my needle in where I think it's about 2/3. And then I'm going to turn this around and go down and over and up and cut the thread. So that's my quilting, all done. And it looks pretty. Now, some of it you can just, if you don't care, and it's not even that you don't care, but I just don't think it says pretty. And that is, you can start at one corner and go all the way down. Start at another corner and go all the way down. You've crisscrossed, you've got an X in the middle of this, and that's your quilting. But the tic-tac-toe is prettier, I think. And it covers more area. Now, another one I did was, I don't know how I did it. I think I started in the middle and made a line, and then I came down and went up and made another line, and came down and went up and made another line. So there were 3. There was 1 in the middle and 2 on the side, and then I go back and make 2 on this side. And that looked pretty too. So it's up to you what you do. I just wish I knew more about what I am doing. But I am excited because I want to do a quilt as you go. And not have it be, boy, that is really a lot that I need to trim off. Huh. That's a bunch I need to trim off. Okay, let's do this. Let's see something. Twisting time is here. Well, that's 6 inches. That's 6 inches, but it goes over. Twisting time is here, and I want to go a little less than that. Okay, we'll do this one. It's Willy Wonka's, or it's just off. Okay, let me see. Let's twist again, like we did last year. I need to go make something to eat. Maybe I'll have some grits. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay. Just a little off. It's just kind of rounded in the middle. All right, that one had a lot. This material is quite thick. Sometimes you just can't tell if there's one piece or two. I think it's just one. I think it's just really thick material. Okay. Let's try this again. Do, 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 do. All right. I'm a pain in the little butt. Or the big butt. Whichever. I like big butts and I cannot lie. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're just going to do something here. Do, 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 do. I need to pull my ruler out and use my rotor tool. I mean, this will work, but it might be easier. What I've got to do is get a ruler that I can use that's smaller. And I've got one coming. I didn't order. I can't say necessarily what I wanted, but I have a ruler coming. It's a 6.5 by 6.5. Let's do this side. But see, those rulers can be really spendy. And they have sets of rulers, but that's what I mean. The sizes of the rulers I didn't expect. Like a 4.9. which might be for the batting to go with those squares, the 5-inch squares, because there's a lot of things done with 5x5. And actually, I saw a set that had a 2.5 square, because you get those jelly rolls and they're 2.5 inches, and then you can put that little square down, zip, 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 but you're making little squares. I don't know if I want to do that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just want this to be a little bit smaller than 6 inches. No, I do. I've got to go eat something. I'm going to be sick if I don't. And sometimes when I eat, it makes me, well, it makes me get hungry. Or just like that coffee I had. I had just a very little bit of coffee, but I had a sugar substitute in it. And it does something to me. Now I'm starving. Whereas if I go without, I ain't hungry. So that's a clue. Go without. There are coffee drinkers in the house, and so there's usually a little bit left over, and I grab it. But I do get disappointed that it never tastes as good as it smells. To me. You know, but some creamers make coffee taste pretty good. I can't tell. I'm hungry. That's what I can tell, which means I gotta go take care of it. All right, people. I've shown you a bunch. I talked to the guy that had the questions, or the girl, whichever you are. And someone's here. Okay, I'll do another one because there's only 3. Let's twist again like we did last year. Okay, so this quilt that I'm doing now has 6.5-inch squares, front and back. And then the batting, they're saying 6-inch square. But I'm thinking you might need it a little less. Like maybe that's why they have a 5.9 ruler. I'm going, why do you have a 5.9? I'm not understanding this. Well, it's probably for the batting that goes in between. I don't know. What I do know is I'm hungry. Let me see, I'll take that off. Put that over there. I just want to get a piece of batting for this square. And then I'm going to have to go. And I have started to perspire. Da-dum, da-dum. I haven't driven my car in a little while. I wonder if it's going to start. I did buy a battery charger, not a charger necessarily, but a jump starter. It's charged up and waiting in my car unless it loses its charge. But it's just in a compartment in case I need it. But I didn't know there was a problem with the alternator. The alternator is just kind of hanging in there. I had to have an inspection. In order to be legal here, they inspect their cars. And what I remember from years gone by, when they inspected your car, they didn't do what these people did. Oh my. I'm kind of glad that they did what they did. But what am I trying to say? It ended up costing me a whole lot. I was not expecting that at all. I thought they would just be checking headlights and tail lights and your blinkers if they work and this and that. Well, they checked the whole underneath. They checked my, I'm pretty sure they checked the CV joints. But they said my shocks were spent and that I couldn't get inspected unless I replaced them. And you can see that being a tactic for a business to make money off of you. But I can feel the difference in my car. The way it sits and the way it goes over bumps and stuff. Got a runny nose a little bit. I sure hope I don't get sick like these people. I told my daughter, you sound like you're getting sick. That was last week. And by God, she did. Full-fledged, not good. But she refuses to go to the doctor. And I don't really blame her, except for when you have green, when you've got thick crack of green, that means to me infection, that means to me antibiotics. And sometimes if you don't take care of things, they turn into other things, like pneumonia, like The Walking Dead, like where I was once upon a time. But I didn't know I was sick. I had no clue. I mean, I would get sick. It seemed like I'd have a problem one day out of a bunch. And then the next thing you know, I was down for the count. And when you cannot breathe, you cannot live, okay? You need to breathe. You need your oxygen. Okay, so this last square I did, I probably already showed you, but I'm going to show you again. It's got polka dots. She made the statement that she loves polka dots. I don't know if she made it after she saw this or if she even thought about that, but she later on in the car. So I've got the batting. It holds. It just grabs. So anyway, I've got it placed perfectly and trimmed up. So what's my point of what I was saying? She likes polka dots. I'm going, well, cool, interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, it goes off the edge on one side, and it's kind of weird over here. I get these little points on the corners. Okay, so like, I'll show you. Can't see you see how you can see it here? Well, we need to see it there. So I'm going to trim that off. I want to have about a 1/4 inch all the way around showing of the material, and that's where our seams are going to be. Do, 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 do. Okay, so I trimmed that much off. I don't know if you can see it, but now you can see there's material all the way around. Okay, so that's only 2 of those. I want to do 4. And if I deal only with the materials that she has here, I don't know. Make sure that the good side is out. Do, 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 do. Okay. one more of that one. Da 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 dum, do 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 do. You're so far away. Give me that. I know that it's all crooked right here. They're all rounded right here. Okay. Little teeny sliver. I'll probably have to take some more off. That part is done anyway. Come over here a little bit. Okay. Okay, I can trim a little bit more over here. Well, there's one thing about it. Might be a bunch of steps right now, but once it's done, it'll be great. And it'll stay together. It will not come apart. Okay, so I've got some blocks out of everything but this plaid that's got cranberry in it. Oh, I guess I'll grab a couple, 3 or 4 of those. Come back here, come on. So, I'm just saying, like, my daughter was complaining that I was doing all this work and not getting anywhere. And time is short and I've got quilts to do. But what happens is you got all these steps you got to do. So I spent a lot of time cutting strips. That feels like a needle down there. And I'm barefoot. Can't see. I sure hope I don't get stabbed. Ow. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Ba-doo-da-da. Okay. I think Diego must be home. So anyway, Jessie has gotten really sick. And now her boyfriend is really sick. And I sure as hell hope I don't get really sick. That would just be terrible. My daughter works out in the weather. I hate it. Because when wintertime comes, you are freezing. She's done it a few years, so I guess she knows what she's doing. She's the one that's got to suffer. But I can't stand it. I wish she didn't have to do that. Yeah, I got it right. Kind of got lost there for a second. It's like, okay, am I putting it on the right side? Do 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 do. Yeah, I gotta trim this quite a bit. Arr, arr. I know, I could just move it over there, but I don't want to. Okay. Do 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 do. Good enough. I think. I hope. I don't know. I know I stopped probably in the middle of what I was saying. But the point is, I may not look like I'm getting anywhere, but then they all come together at one time. Or the quilt itself, okay? Because it takes all those steps. Like I have mentioned before, you got to do a little dreaming. And then you got to figure out colors. So then you got to shop. You got to pre-wash them. If it's cotton anyway. I don't know. Maybe they pre-wash everything. Because they say talking about chemicals on the fabric too. But anyway, so you pre-wash it. And you dry it. Then you iron it. Then you fold it right. And then you have to figure out, okay, what quilt are you doing? What do you need to cut up? Okay, you've done all this stuff to get ready. So then you got to cut up your squares or your strips. And in my case, I would cut, like if I was doing 6-inch squares, I would cut 6-inch strips across a yard of material. And it, so you got the strips, and then you're going to turn those strips into squares. Measure and cut, measure and cut. And so like right now, I have cut everything that I've got so far for Jessie's quilt. In other words, I don't know if I have enough material. I might have to buy more. This is her stack. The green and the gold. And then she's got this and this are her squares. I'm just going to stack it right there. And then she wants gray for the backing. I just cut off all the gray that I had because I'm gonna do all 6.5-inch squares now. 6.5-inch square for the material and the backing, and 6-inch, actually a little less than 6-inch square for the batting. I'm sure that's why they have a 5.9. I might have to look at that. But anyway, I was looking at trying to get.
From maybe Walmart, your Waverly Inspirations 4, and one other item should arrive today. Track. Link to WMT Co. Reply help for info. Stop to opt out.
Okay, so I'm going to get some stuff today. I'm not sure what. I think it's 2 yards of material. Because I ordered some more, I ordered some green. Like this, but it's green. See, green has not ever been one of my colors, so it's just weird. For me, I don't know what colors of green she'd like. And myself, I would like this marbled green. This. I love this. That's a teal green. But anyway, I have a different green coming in those flowers today, and a purple. Same design, but purple, green. I was looking at a quilt that was for Kevin, and it had purple in it. Just trying to figure out their colors, because nothing like, I mean, for me anyway, Like I told you, royal blue is my favorite color. Well, looking at royal blue makes me happy. And I don't know how to explain that, but you know, it does. All right, so I put some squares together. Let's see. I think I've got them all. I didn't do any gray. So I'm not sure if she's going to even want gray. And these are all prints. Okay, so this is what I've got put together. It's got the batting. So I can go in there and sew the lines to quilt it together. And this is what I've got left that does not have any batting. And that's not counting the gray that's going on the back. And I should ask her if she wants any solid grays. I don't think she does, because everything she's got is a print. And before, when we were going to do it, she says, solids is good. I'll just do solids. I think she might have been going by the material I already had. I don't know. We got a bag of scraps. Let me show you. I've just been putting my scraps in this bag. But I already threw it. I don't know if I threw it away, but I say I already had another bag just like that. Okay, I know my voice is quite raspy. I don't like that, but I can't help it. I'm just lucky that when I sing, it's not. It's trip. Anyway, I love this. I love it. I love it. I want some more of it. But I want the backing on it already. Now, see, I could do that. I could put the backing on it and just sew, but it would have to have sashing. Because I could just sew all these blocks together with the batting and everything. I mean, the backing too. And then sew the seams, excuse me. Yeah, she sewed the seams. But what I'm trying to say is, if I did that, and I didn't want to do the encasing, because she's not wanting the encasing anyway, I could you make the seams about 3/8 inch, and then you press them open with your iron so they're flat. And then there's a way with some glue and some sashing that you can put your sashing right on there. And you don't just glue it on and it stays. What you do is you put a little bit of glue down the middle of the seam that you pressed open. And then you take your sashing, which you have made or bought. But I like what they've got. They take a 2-inch strip and then they fold it in on itself so it becomes an inch. 1/2 inch on one side, 1/2 inch on the other has been folded in and pressed. So it leaves a 1-inch piece. Well, you take that 1-inch piece and put it between the seams. And then you take it, okay, you got the glue. You got a little dab of glue going up and down, and then you have put the sashing on it with an iron, okay? And you've already, some people do, and I can see that, use a ruler. They go a 1/2 inch from the seam, the middle seam, and draw a line. And they do it on the other side. So when you put your sashing, that is 1 inch, you put it between those lines. And then you iron it, and the glue's going to hold it in place. But then you're going to take it to the sewing machine, and you're going to top stitch both sides of that sashing, which just covers up the seam underneath. I like that idea, but I don't think my daughter wants sashing. But see, it is a possibility. It is a thought. Because with that sashing, at least I'm not using my hands on every single square. I can put it together and then put the sashing on. If you're doing quilt as you go, you want to put the sashing on before you finish. So you'd probably put 2 rows together, then you could put the sashing on while you don't have a lot of other extra material creating a problem. Oh, so anyway, these stacks are Jessie's. And I don't know how many I need. As far as the batting goes. See, this is all batting that I cut last night. And they're not exactly perfect, but they're supposed to be about 6 inches. And then all of these pieces, all the gray, that's the backing. And this is the material for the squares that I'm making, and these are the squares. So I'm going to, if I follow this lady, what she did, she's going to take all these pieces. I'm going to take all these pieces that I just put together and go ahead and stitch them, do the quilting. Now what she did was she just did 2 rows. You know, in the tic-tac-toe effect, she did 2 rows and did not do the other sides. And then when she put it together with the backing, that's when she did the other side. So that the back is quilted to the front, but most of this front quilting's already been done. All these will all have their own quilting going on. And then we'll put it together with other, and this is your line where you're going to sew. I don't know if you see it. This is your line where you're going to sew. Okay, so I've got all those done. Those are waiting to be done. That is the back. And I need to put my quilt back out here, but you guys just go look at my videos and you'll see the quilt I finished. Of course, I didn't show it to you finished, because it's got, the sides have been bound. It's complete. The only thing I need to do is go over it and check and see if there's strings I need to cut, which I tried to cut all of them already. But I do know that I want to put it through the wash and through a dryer and make sure it's really dry, and then I want to put it in plastic so that it is protected. There's a lot of dog hair around here. Nothing like when we had German Shepherds. This is still a Shepherd. This is an Aussie. I believe they're Shepherds, just not German Shepherds. Smart dog, I can tell you that. But he sheds. Maybe not as bad as German Shepherds do. We could have made pillows and all kinds of stuff from their hair. I mean, we thought about it. Because you can make yarn out of it. And what a warm coat that would be. Dog fur? I'm serious. Their undercoat, they have so much fur. So all you got to do is give them a good raking, brushing, and you're going to have tons of it. We started just putting it all together in its own bag, but we had a lot of German Shepherds. We didn't just have 1 or 2. Anyway. Okay, well, listen, I got to go eat. So I'm going to let you go. And it's been over an hour anyway, and there's 13:33. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. Anyway, love you guys. I hope you have a great day. And yes, me too. I got to find something great to do, which is going to be this quilt. I'm going to let you go, and then I might come back and talk to you while I'm sewing on these squares. Not putting them together, but doing the quilting on the squares. But I'm excited because once you get this going, once you get all the different components done, it goes together. You just have to keep doing it. I let life get in the way, but it's not really getting in the way. We have to make choices. And I'm talking about enjoying time with my daughter, sitting and watching TV or going to the bar while she plays pool, or family is important. Okay, and then these quilts are for the family. They're important. And then I have other things that are important I have to make time for, which I am glad. So anyway, I will come back after I go and take care of some hunger issues, and then I will show you what I do next. And I hope, person out there that wanted to know that information, that's good enough. If you go back over my videos over the last 3 weeks, it's all about quilting. And so you can watch me do it. But really, what I'm doing here, the only thing different is 2 sizes. My backing on my quilts that I have finished had that inch all the way around piece of material. In other words, the backing was 2 inches bigger than the front. And then you center the front in the middle. So you have 1 inch all the way around. And that is what you're going to join your other blocks with. Okay, so you're going to have this beautiful thing. You're going to have this flappy material hanging off the edge. Well, you don't want to sew on that when you're doing your quilting or whatever you're doing. You leave that inch all the way around alone, and then that's how you connect. You connect with the next row, you connect with the block next to it. When you all got the whole row done and you're going to be, like I just got through doing binding, then you're going to use that to bind that quilt. So it's all one piece when you're done. And I really do like it. And what I need to do is try it with larger squares instead of just 6-inch squares. But see, I got this idea, I got this thought in my brain from years and years and years ago, and those were smaller squares. Velvet bedspread with quilted bedspread. Beautiful. But yeah, machines do that really well, don't they? Nevertheless, you guys have a great day, okay?